Welcome to Audit Archive, where we run you through some of the most questionable and rather atrocious police encounters. Today, we're looking at a false 911 call that led to a huge lawsuit filed by an innocent victim who was mistaken as a member of ISIS. The footage used in this video is brought to you by Police Activity, ABC News, and Cleveland.com's channels. All relevant links can be found in the description. On June 29, 2016, a United Arab Emirates citizen, 41-year-old Ahmed Al-Minhali, arrived at the Fairland Inn and Suites, located in Avon, Ohio. Mr. Minhali and his wife had traveled to the United States so that Mr. Minhali could seek medical treatment for several conditions at the Cleveland Clinic, also located in Ohio. After entering the hotel, Mr. Minhali spoke to the front desk receptionist about seeking accommodation, to which he was promptly told that they were completely booked because of the Republican National Convention taking place in the area. To this, Mr. Minhali politely requested the receptionist to provide him with a few other options for hotels that may be vacant. Everything seemed to be completely normal. The receptionist told Mr. Minhali to wait in the lobby while they came up with a list of hotels that he could try. These calls triggered a SWAT-style police response. Avon officers arrived on the scene with guns drawn and managed to detain Mr. Minhali, who appeared to be just walking out of the hotel while on his phone.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Down! On the ground! Do it now! Get on your turn.
As a foreigner who had flown to the United States for medical treatment, it was no surprise that this encounter had startled Mr. Minhali, who appeared to question the officers about what exactly was happening.
Take the phone away! Take the phone away! Cover the entrance, LT. Get your back again.
What is this?
Go down there.
What happened?
Go up.
In a later interview with CNN, Mr. Minhali said that he had no idea what was going on. Maybe something was wrong in the hotel, and they were coming to help him. He also said that the officers approached him, he saw their vicious eyes, and realized that he was the target. After placing Mr. Minhali in handcuffs, the officers briefly searched him.
You good? Here. 37 and pull up.
Oh, do it like this.
That's it, brother?
One detained. She said she's by herself.
In the body cam footage, Mr. Minhali is seen telling the officers that he's a tourist, and this was not good.
Not good this. I'm tourist, and this is good, not good.
This is followed by an officer chucking Mr. Minhali's phone across the pavement.
Yeah, it's not good. It's right.
Make a sweep this place.
I don't know. He's got it.
And as expected, it was later found this resulted in his phone being damaged. In this situation, the officer had no right to damage Mr. Minhali's personal property, as the phone was not hindering the investigation whatsoever. Officers do have the right to cause reasonable damage only if it is needed to reach a suspect. The officers then propped Mr. Minhali up and took him toward the patrol car, where he was searched more thoroughly. This was when the officers found Mr. Minhali's second phone.
Another cell phone.
You stay with them. You stay with them. Okay.
It was later found that Mr. Minhali owned a marketing company in the United Arab Emirates and often used his second phone for business purposes only. As the officers continued with their search, Mr. Minhali told one of them that they broke his phone after tossing it like that, to which the officer replied, "Yeah, well, you broke my nail."
Broken my telephone also.
Yeah, so you broke
Yes.
my nail.
This goes to show that the officers had no regard for what actually happened, and rather decided to treat Mr. Minhali as a terrorist, regardless of any backstory or investigation. Meanwhile, one of the officers was inside the hotel, speaking to the receptionist who prompted the 911 call.
Somewhere in Avon or Elyria. He wanted a month's stay. He was leaving July 13th to the 14th, around there, and I tried to help him as much as possible. Everywhere said that they were booked and they couldn't help him. I told him, and then he wanted to sit in our lobby. He didn't want to leave.
So you said you guys were booked?
Yeah, we said we were booked.
Okay.
Everywhere he called is booked too. It's summer, people are
Sure,
traveling.
absolutely.
So, I mean, that's what he had 2 phones. He was searching the internet on one phone, making calls on a disposable phone. That's really all that I know. It just freaks me out because of everything going on.
He didn't say anything else?
No, it's
Because the call we got is that someone said that he was pledging his allegiance to ISIS.
No.
Who would have said that? Who made the call?
I told my sister, I said, he's dressed in, it's my sister, her name's Allison. She called, I said, he's dressed in a weird outfit, he has 2 disposable phones. I said, I don't know what to do because...
It wasn't long before he realized that this was a false alarm and ordered all other officers to stand down and stop searching Mr. Minhali.
20-30 units, stop your search.
Because everything is going on with ISIS is what I said. I said, call the police, because we couldn't, because he kept coming up here.
Stand down, stand down, stand down.
At this point, the officer was evidently baffled by the situation and told the staff that someone dressed like that, just holding phone, isn't enough to call and say they're pledging their allegiance to ISIS.
Someone dressed like that just holding phones isn't enough to call and say they're pledging their allegiance to ISIS. That's a totally different ballgame.
He walks out of the hotel telling his fellow officers to dust this gentleman off, as this was clearly an unnecessary call.
So let's go dust this gentleman off.
This incident would fall into the category of a hate crime motivated by ethnicity and religion, as the officers uncuffed Mr. Minhali and waited for his friend, who was a police officer at the Cleveland Police Department, to come help with translation. Mr. Minhali passed out and collapsed.
Tenfold, but if I just need him to... Oh, well, he just passed out on me, so...
It was later found that Mr. Minhali had pulled through an open heart surgery just a few months prior to this incident. Fortunately, paramedics were already present on the scene and immediately administered aid to Mr. Minhali. He was taken to the nearby hospital after showing signs of a stroke, where he remained admitted for a few days before being discharged. Mr. Minhali later stated that after regaining consciousness, he had trouble speaking and then his health remained unstable. As a result of this incident, Mr. Minhali had many questions, but also had a lot to say. He said in a statement, "Those eyes, which I saw, I cannot forget now how they looked at me, like they wanted a reason to kill me." And also said, "Of course I cannot sleep, because when I'm just sleeping, bad dreams come in." News broke out and this ordeal went international. The United Arab Emirates Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation called for an apology from Avon officials and warned its own citizens against wearing the national dress when traveling to the United States. Avon's mayor Brian Jensen and police chief Richard Bosley apologized to Mr. Minhali in a meeting at the Cleveland office of the Council on American Islamic Relations.
You should not have been put in that situation like you were.
There were some false accusations made against you, and those are regrettable.
Mayor Jensen said in a statement, "This was a very unfortunate incident and does not reflect our community. Avon is proud to welcome visitors from the United Arab Emirates and other countries who regularly come to Northern Ohio for tourism, business, medical care, or education." Also, a spokesman for Marriott International, which owns Fairfield Inn and Suites, expressed regret over the incident and said the company is working with Avon hotel staff on training to prevent a similar situation. Mr. Minhali went on to file a lawsuit against the hotel and both the employees at the front desk for racially profiling him. The Avon Police Department initially told Mr. Minhali that they were reviewing the case to determine whether to pursue charges against the 911 callers, but a Lorain County grand jury chose not to indict anyone in the case after being presented with the evidence. Talking about the lawsuit, Mr. Minhali told College Times that he will not settle for less than $200 million in compensation for physical, psychological, and financial damages the incident had resulted in. However, after 3 years of the court battle surrounding the lawsuit, he eventually settled for an undisclosed amount in 2019. One of Mr. Minhali's lawyers, Terry Gilbert, stated that, "We are pleased to obtain a significant settlement on behalf of Mr. Al-Minhali." Be sure to check out our previous video, where we cover another outrageous police encounter. We will catch you there.